Hello class, this is an example of how to use a tree diagram to solve a probability problem. So this example corresponds with the 12.52 in your textbook. It's about teens and texting. So the Pew Internet and American Life project finds that 75% of teenagers ages 12 to 17 own cell phones. Of the teens who own cell phones, 87% use text messaging. What percent of teens then own cell phones and are texters? Okay, so the first thing is that I'm going to assume that this is a conditional probability problem because of this statement. Of the teens who own cell phones, 87% use text messaging. This is going to give me the indication that that is a conditional probability because it says of the teens who own cell phones, which means that the probability of texting given they own a cell phone is 0.87. So then the tree diagram is a perfect way that we can set up this problem. So the first step is to make our first branch. And that would be then owning a cell phone and then not owning a cell phone. So the complement of that would be not own. And the probability of owning a cell phone, as we can see in our example, is 0.75. Now the probability of not owning a cell phone is then simply the complement of that, which is 0.25. Okay. Now with the tree diagram, we want to then on our second branch have the conditional statement. So we can have here two more branches. This branch here is going to be the texting branch and no texting. And same thing here, we have texting and no texting. Now the probability of those who are given they own a cell phone, the probability that they are a texter is 0.87. And therefore the complement of that on our other branch will be 0.13. Now to fill out the rest of our tree diagram, we can go down here and we can see that along the lines of not owning, they don't own a cell phone, then the probability of them texting would simply be 0 because they don't own a cell phone. Now the probability of not owning and not texting would then be 1. So then how can we find the probability that a randomly chosen teen owns a cell phone and they are texters? Well, this is simply just the multiplication rule. And so when we have a tree diagram, we can then, to get the intersections, or in layman's terms, the and of two probabilities, then we can just multiply the two branches of our tree diagram. So if we want to know the probability of owning a cell phone and the probability that they are a texter, we simply multiply 0.75 times 0.87. And then we get a probability of, we can go to our calculator, 0.75 times 0.87, and that is equal to a probability of 0.6525, which is then the probability 0.65, which is then the probability that a randomly chosen teen owns a cell phone and is a texter.